let us now turn to worker mobility and net migration. So worker mobility is an important part of the labor market because what it does is that it allows workers to move from job to job, which promotes competition in the marketplace. Mobility, however, is costly. It takes time. There are sometimes money lost because of the search or because of maybe you're taking a lower paying job. And you're also leaving a familiar environment, which can take an emotional toll. So workers will tend to move to new employers if the utility that they gain from doing so outweighs the short-term cost. So cost benefits, they'll look at that and make a decision based off of what is best. If we refer back to the human capital model, which was discussed previously, the model shows that mobility is an investment. It's an investment in which the cost and the benefits are compared. And so what you want to do is you want to look at the cost of doing it, which is going to be the search cost, the time, the emotional stress, and so forth, and then the benefits, which may be a better environment, it may be higher wages, so forth. Now, the costs tend to be more in the short term, whereas the benefits are more long term. And so to compare them, you have to look at the net present value of the benefits. So you want to look at those net benefits and the present value. And so you have to discount, which we discussed, to come up with the cost, the benefits in current dollars. So if we talk about migration trends, mobility of workers among countries and regions within a country is an important part of the labor market. If you look at the direction of migratory flows, it will be predicted that migration will tend to flow from areas with poor earnings to those with better opportunities. So areas of slow job growth to strong job growth, weak economy to strong economy. When you look at the data more, though, with the out-migration versus the in-migration in certain areas, it seems to be that the pull is a stronger effect than the push. So what that means is that it's more the case that people move towards areas of better opportunities as opposed to away from areas of bad trends. So the trends from where they're coming from do not have a strong relationship. People in lower income areas tend to have strong incentive to move, but a lot of time the people in these areas tend to be poor, have less education, so they're not able to do it, and a lot of times they're not willing to do it either. So what determines migration? So who are the migrators? The first factor is age. Age is the biggest factor in determining migration. Younger people will tend to migrate more. There's two reasons for this. The first is that younger people have a longer period to reap the benefits of the moving, plus a large cost in having to break relationship and ties tends to be less as you're younger. So people, as they get older, they have a lot of ties to an area, family. If they have children have friends, school district, familiarity. Whereas if you're younger, you don't have as many of them. And so younger individuals tend to have less holding them back from moving to these areas. The second factor that affects who migrates is education. Within the age groups, education is the best indicator. And what tends to happen is that the more education people receive, the more they tend to move, the more they tend to migrate. And the biggest reason for that is that if you have more education, you're going to be going for the more skilled type of jobs. And if that's the case, you're going to have more opportunities. The jobs are paying, the the jobs that you'll be getting will be better paying, and so people tend to be on more of a regional or national job search in that situation. And finally, distance. So it will be predicted that as migration costs go up, as it becomes more expensive to move, the flow of migration falls. So the cost of moving will increase as distance increases. The further you want to move, the larger the distance. There's a few reasons for that. So yes, you have the money of moving, and the further you move, it's going to be more expensive. So you have the direct costs, but the further away you go, information is more difficult to get. And so it costs more in terms of time and money to get that necessary information on the area, on the job, so forth. Secondly, the time and money to go back and forth and visit these areas for the interview, for the house search, and so forth, if it's a further distance, if you have to go back and forth, okay, the larger the distance, the more cost there is. Therefore, it will be expected that people are more willing to move shorter distances than long.